What is a dead giveaway of a toxic relationship?
Lack of trust and constant fights.
Inability to take a step back, listen and analyze the other person's point and actually come to a conclusion during a conflict.
Gaslighting, or the idea that whatever you say can make them mad, so you start choosing every word way too carefully, end up not speaking your mind to avoid a fight.
Break up, make up, rinse, and repeat.
A shared Facebook account. It just screams insecurity, infidelity, and toxicity.
Being yelled at, attacked for reacting to their abusive behavior.
When they treat you bad when nobody is watching.
And feeling responsible for everything that feels wrong in the relationship.
If you have to wait until your SO is in a good mood to bring up a problem you have in the relationship, get out ASAP.
Lack of friends on one side. I've known a couple people who one of them wouldn't be allowed to have friends. Their only friends were the friends of their partner. Massive red flag.
If someone is always talking about their partner whenever they are not together. I've seen this far too many times. It's always ended in total disaster within a few years at most.
No communication and everything is a blame game with no acceptance of responsibility.
They won't let me, let you. I am not referring to times when one is using the other to get out of something. Nor am I referring to completely reasonable. Like owning a pet that can't be sustained or an obnoxious behavior being prohibited at designated times. I'm referring to, won't let me talk to so-and-so, won't let me wear XYZ, won't let me see family, won't let me go out. That kind of let, not a completely reasonable let. The whatabouts in the comments are, honestly, frustrating me. The prompt is about toxic relationships. My let is referring to toxic relationships. So the comments being like, what about this totally healthy context, is please use your best judgment. That's all I ask.
Gaslighting would definitely be a dead giveaway, but I think the problem is it can be very difficult to know you're being gaslit.
When they say we need to work on our communication, but every time you bring anything up they get mad and start an argument.
Yup. I've listened to so many people complain about their partners and I just wonder, why are y'all together? If I get a chance to talk about my BF, you can bet I'll start dishing out everything I love about him.
You dread seeing them. They all of the joy out of a room. You feel too anxious to leave, in fear that they will hurt themselves, make it extremely difficult for you.
Did that for 4 years before I finally bit the bullet and broke up for the last years later. He's calling me telling me how much better he's doing in a new province, good for him. I was happy to hear, and wanted to get back. We were both quite toxic to each other during the course of our relationship. I told him it didn't work the first, second time. We were just bad for each other, but I was super happy and proud of him for moving provinces and making life better for himself. He had one of his friends call me to try to talk him up. No, we're not teenagers, I don't need this. Anyway, last I heard, he was with someone and had a kid. So, I hope life is treating him right, smiley face.
If you find yourself putting in more effort more often into the relationship, whenever you bring up some issues you're having, they make you feel bad for sharing how you feel. They weaponize. When I say weaponize, I mean that they use as a way of control, and yes, I am well aware both men and women do this.
If his wedding vows include the phrase, keep my belly full and my balls, here's the article and videos.
Being bitchy to each other at group get-together, I hate being around that.
Lack of having to vet every little thing you do with a partner. Being isolated from outside relationships and not self-actualizing outside of the context of part of A is usually a power imbalance or at the very least an unhealthy level of codependency.
Someone who does not let you have a life outside of the relationship and gets upset when you see friends or do hobbies you like, even if you make time for them.
15-ish years ago I went through this in my early 20s. Mum told me it was toxic. I got mad and said she didn't understand and it was a sign we were meant to be together, cause we couldn't stay apart. Face with rolling eyes, I wish I had listened to her and wasn't an idiot. Makes me cringe.
My 57-year-old colleague constantly has to send videos and pics of him working to his wife.
My ex once pulled out a diary that she wanted to show me to be open about her thoughts and lay them all on the table. It was legit a full list of all the things she hated about me, written in the most deep and depressing way. About my career, lack of motivation, lack of communication, and how she doesn't find me unattractive. Her depression, that was my fault. It was the most deeply hurtful words written in a paragraph, conscribed in such a way that would not paint her as a bad person for saying plus tears. I get I was going through a bad patch back then, as many were after COVID. But looking back, nobody should ever treat someone like that. End of the day, I was a 23-year-old with flaws, and was still managing to hold our relationship together. We were okay. 3 months after we break up, I get offered a promotion within my company. 5 months after that, I get offered another huge promotion. I went from £12,000 to £25,000 to £30,000 to till the £55,000, all within the last 18 months. I haven't changed one bit either. Still 25. YRS. Would never usually flex, but I'm proud and the proof is in the paycheck. I'm moving home, going skiing, spending time with mates, my life is good. Turns out those words were a load of
calling each other babe way too multiple at Dundee at the Plasma TV.
Crying all the time, feeling worthless, feeling scared to say what's on your mind.
I think we all have our moments.
It's not always the one not being allowed to do what they want that's the toxic fuckknuckle, but one of them is defo the toxic remembering. He would not let me take my own baby to the homeopathic doctor I trust, and instead took her to a pharma shilling hospital, and they gave her vaccinations and drugs for her rash. He poisoned her. From what I can absolutely assure you is the sort of crazy I wouldn't have stuck my ass into if the alternative was a burning barbecue.
One person does all of the housework, cooking, chores, shopping, maintenance, childcare, yet the other person continues to complain that they don't do it right.
We had a friend who would not speak until after her boyfriend spoke. One night she was over for dinner without him and mentioned how her boyfriend was passionate and sometimes put his fist through their walls. After that comment she came to help me do dishes and I was like, that's not normal. You okay? Last time I punched a wall I was a 14-year-old boy. She eventually left him, but the fact that she always demurred to him, to me, is a red flag.
Driving home from work, you take a detour so the drive lasts. I see a lot of comments about this kind of relationship with an ex. I'm glad some of you are out. For the rest of you in this cycle, don't know what to tell you, but major hugs.
I'm a female on the autism spectrum that doesn't have any close friends. I fill my time with hobbies and my partner does as well. We see people whom we'd consider friends at the gym. I feel like this narrative of a partner having no friends is problematic only if tries to alienate the partner from her friends.
When the efforts toward the relationship are highly imbalanced, one doing the receiving, the other doing all the giving.
I love this mindset. It's okay to not be right for someone and still want the best for them. Good for you for choosing happiness for the both of you.
Flex away, homie. Sounds like you're doing great.
If it helps, I know of exactly one relationship where they broke up, were separated for like 2 to 3 years, reconnected after working on themselves. Cause of breakup was severe mental illness leading to poor choices, got back together happier and more stable than ever and are now married. So it certainly is possible, just rare and requires a lot of self-improvement to avoid the same issues that lead to the original breakup.
Yes, alienation is the key part of this.
Having a partner in a relationship who insists that you have to fight in a relationship, otherwise you're not passionate about it. I've never had to deal with that personally. I've been married to my partner for 8 years and we almost never fight. But I heard a friend insist this and I was mortified for her relationships.
Gaslighting isn't a real thing. That's all in your head.
Agreed, but sometimes I find that some alone time helps when trying to come to a conclusion for some things. Especially if emotions are high.
When they treat you badly.
Greater than makes me cringe. I honestly think if you don't cringe about your past, you don't grow as a person. So good thing that you are cringing about that. XD.